What's up everybody, Derek here, and today I was going to go over 6 of the best plastic worms that I use for whenever I go bass fishing. And the number one has to be a number one for a lot of people, and that is pretty simple because I am a huge fan of these. Either it's the Yum Dinger or the Yamamoto Senko, it doesn't matter, a stick bait. These things are killer whenever they're rigged wacky rig. Of course you can rig them Texas rigged with the hook up front. It'll want to fall a little bit more head fast, but whenever you've got that even fall with the pendulating legs, or whatever you want to call it, the pendulating ends, whenever they're going down through the water column, and just that little bit of action alone will get bass to just hone in on these things. And whenever you can sight fish for those bass and you can see those bass coming in and wanting to eat these, that is one of the best strikes that you can get, because once they lay eyes on it and they just kind of just explode out of nowhere on them. But these Senkos can be killer. You definitely got to use these Senkos and put them in your arsenal if you don't already have them. And my number 2 doesn't have to be pink, but is a Zoom trick worm. These things, whenever you do Texas rig them and they're completely weedless, you throw them up shallow, these things, when you swim them out, they swim similar to a snake, and then you kill them and it's got that slow rate of fall just like a Senko does. And a lot of times when you're in a lot of cover and you need something that's weedless or not to get hung up, these can be awesome. It's almost like an alternative to the Senko up in thick brush and other stuff, and working it through there, and those bass will react on these things like you would not believe, especially the pink. I actually prefer the pink. You can do the other colors, you can go with whatever color you want in the Zoom trick worm line. They got tons of colors, but this one in pink is actually the one that I go for because it's so easy to see, and it doesn't seem to make fish not want to bite it anymore just because it's pink. All right, another one that is killer for a lot of people, it's just the Flute, the Zoom Fluke. They're so easy, but they mimic dying bait fish so well. So if you can throw these up shallow and just soft jerk bait, just twitch, 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 pause, twitch, 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 pause, twitch, twitch, pause, however the cadence you want to run these at, these things, when you get that pause and you let it set for a second, bass will just load up on these things. These things can be killer in grass and shallow. I mean, so many different scenarios. And also on a drop shot, surprisingly, these things can work really well. So definitely put the Fluke in with your baits that you go to whenever you're using those plastic worms. Another one that is killer for me is the Swimmin Fluke. This is another Zoom, but it's got the paddle tail on there. I actually, instead of putting a swim bait hook on these, where it's got the weight down underneath, I will actually put about a 4 or 5/0 wide gap hook on here and use a bullet sinker up above, so you could rig and unrig, and you could actually work the bottom with another style plastic worm. But this one, if you just put a bullet weight right there, toss it out, and just do a slow, steady retrieve, especially on those grass lakes, bass will hammer on these. They work so well for bass whenever they're just wanting to get a reaction strike, especially in grass. So you should definitely include this one. And another one, I consider this a worm bait because of the profile of it, but it has appendages coming off of it. This is actually a young Christie Crawl. I believe Jason Christie actually designed this one, but it is so close to resembling a brush hog, it's not even funny. But if you were to take these off, it'd basically be a turd. It'd be a stick, a little bitty stick bait, little bitty Senko. But with these little appendages on here, I just consider it not a creature bait, but more of a worm. So these things on a Texas rig are killer. Whenever you're getting around those crawfish type areas, I mean, these things will catch you some fish, definitely. So you should have these in your bag of tricks whenever you're going out there bass fishing. And then the last one is kind of in a category all of its own, but I still consider it like the Christie Crawl, a worm basically. It's a lizard. This one is in white. I use this one specifically for bed fishing, so it really shows up whenever I toss it on a bed. But just these simple appendages. But if you were to take those appendages away, it's basically the same shape almost as that Christie Crawl or a brush hog. But it's kind of in its own category, being a lizard. But I still consider it a worm, because most ribbon tail worms are going to be that similar shape if you cover up the appendages. So I don't know, it's just my favorite plastics that I basically go with, and really you don't have to deviate much more than that, because you can get little tweaks here and there. It's kind of like these appendages, you can get little design differences from different companies, but really you don't got to change it up that much as long as you stay towards a natural color and it's a worm bait. Because I mean, look at the Senko. Who knows how many fish that thing has caught through the years with all the fishermen. I mean, that is one of the most catchingest fishing baits that is out there. So I don't know, but let me know what you guys' thoughts are, or if you would throw one in here that's a worm style bait that I didn't include here. Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys, and thanks for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.